The complete works of Swami Vivekananda, Volume 3, Section 4, Address of Welcome at Almora and Reply. On his arrival at Almora, Swamiji received an address of welcome in Hindi from the citizens of Almora, of which the following is a translation. Great souled one, since the time we heard that, after gaining spiritual conquest in the West, you had started from England for your motherland India. We were naturally desirous of having the pleasure of seeing you. By the grace of Almighty, that auspicious moment has at last come. The saying of the great poet and the prince of Bhaktas, Tulsidas, a person who intensely loves another is sure to find him, has been fully realized today. We have assembled here to welcome you with sincere devotion. You have highly obliged us by your kindly taking so much trouble in paying a visit to this town again. We can hardly thank you enough for your kindness. Blessed are you. Blessed is the reversed Gurudev who initiated you into yoga. Blessed is the land of Bharat, where every in this fearful Kali Yuga there exist leaders of Aryan races. You are like yourself. Even at an earlier period of life, you have, by your simplicity, sincerity, character, philanthropy, several discipline, conduct, and the preachings of knowledge, acquired that immaculate fame throughout the world of which we feel so proud. In truth, you have accomplished that difficulty or difficult task which no one ever undertook in this country since the day of Sri Shankaracharya. Which of us ever dreamt that the descendant of the old Indian Aryans, by dint of tapas, would prove to the learned people of England and America the superiority of the ancient Indian religion over other creeds? Before the representative of different religions assembled in the world's Parliament of Religion held in Chicago, you so ably advocated the superiority of the ancient religion of India that their eyes were opened. In that great assembly, learned speakers defended their respective religion in their own way, but you surpassed them all. You completely established that no religion can compete with the religion of the Vedas. Not only this, but by preaching the ancient wisdom at various places in the continent for aforesaid, you have attracted many learned men towards the ancient Aryan religion and philosophy. In England too, you have planted the banner of ancient religion, which is the impossible now to remove. Up to this time, the modern civilized nation of Europe and America were entirely ignorant of the genius nature of our religion. But you have, with our spiritual teaching, opened their eyes, by which they have come to know that the ancient religion, which owing to their ignorance they used to brand as a religion of sub- subtleties of conceited people or a mass of discourses meant for fools, is a mine of gem. Certainly, it is better to have a virtuous and accomplished son than to have hundreds of foolish ones. It is the moon that singly, with its light, dispels all darkness, and not all the stars but together. It is only the life of good and son, virtuous son, like yourself, that is really useful to the world. Mother India is consoled in her decayed states by presence of pure sons like you. Many have crossed the seas and aimlessly run to and fro. But it was only through the reward of your past good karma that you have proved the greatness of our religion beyond the seas. You have made it the sole aim of your life by word, thought, and deed to impart spiritual instruction to humanity. You are always ready to give religious instructions. We have heard with great pleasure that you intend establish a monastery here, and we sincerely pray that your efforts in this direction may be crowned with success. The great Shankaracharya also, after his spiritual conquest, established a mart at Bhad- Bhada Bhadrika Ashram at Bhadrika Ashram in the Himalayas for the protection of the ancient religion. Similarly, if your desire is also fulfilled, India will be greatly benefited by the establishment of the mutt. We Kumaunesians Kumaunese will derive special spiritual advantages, and we shall not see the ancient religion gra- gradually disappearing from our midst. From time immemorial, this part of the country has been the land of asceticism. The greatest of the Indian sages passed their time in pity and asceticism in this land, but that has become a thing of the past. We earnestly hope that by the establishment of the mart, you will kindly make us realize it again. It was this sacred land which enjoyed the celebrity all over India of having true religion, karma, discipline, and fair dealing, all of which seem to have been decaying by the efflux of time. And we hope that by your noble exertion, this land will revert to its ancient religious state. We cannot adequately express the joy we have felt at your arrival here. May you live long, may you live long, enjoying perfect health and leading a philanthropical life. May your spiritual powers be ever on the increase, so that through your endeavors, the unhappy state of India may soon disappear. Two other addresses were presented, to which the Swami made the following relief or reply. This is a land of dreams of our forefather, in which was born Parvati, the mother of India. This is the holy land where every ardent soul in India want to come at the end of its life and to close the last chapter of its mortal career on the tops of the mountains of this blessed land, in the depth of its caves, on the banks of its rushing torrent, have been thought out the most wondrous thought, a little bit of which has drawn so much admirations even from the foreigners, and which have been pronounced by the most competent of judges to be incomparable. This is a land which, since my very childhood, I have been dreaming of passing my life in. And oh, as all of you are aware, I have attempted again and again to live here. And although the time was not ripe, and I had work to do, and was willed outside of this holy place, yet it is the hope of my life to end my days somewhere in this father of mountains where the rishis lived, where philosophy was born. Perhaps, my friends, I shall not be able to do it in the way that I had planned before. How I wish that the silence, that unknowingness would be given to me. Yet I sincerely pray and hope and almost believe that my last days will be spent here, of all places on earth. Inhabitants of this holy land, accept my gratitude for the kind praise that has fallen from you for my little work in the West. But at the same time, my mind does not want to speak of that, either in the East or in the West. As peak after peak of this father of the mountain began to appear before my sight, all the propensity of work to work, that ferment that had been going on in my brain for years seemed to quiet down, and instead of talking about what had been done and what going to be done, the mind reverted to that one eternal theme which the Himalayas always teach us, the one theme which is reverb- reverberating in the very atmosphere of this place, the one theme, the murmur of which I hear even now in the rushing whirlpool of its river. renunciation, renunciation. सर्वं वस्तु भयावन्तिं, सर्वं वस्तुं भयावन्तिं भुवि नृणां वैराग्यम् एव एवाभयम्। सर्वं वस्तु भयावन्तिं भुवि नृणां वैराग्यम् एव भयम्. Everything in this life is fraught with fear. It is renunciation alone that makes one fearless. Yes, this is the land of renunciation. The time will not permit me, and the circumstances are not fitting to speak of you fully. I shall have to conduct, therefore, by pointing out to you that the Himalayas stand for that renunciation, and the grand lesson we shall ever teach to humanity will be renunciation. As for forefathers under to be attracted towards it in the later days of their lives, so strong souls from all quarters of this earth in time to come will be attracted to this father of mountain. When all this fight between sect and all those different difference in dogmas will not be remembered anymore, and the quarrel between your religion and my religion will have vanished. Although, when mankind will understand that, when mankind will understand that there is but one eternal religion, and that is perception of the divine within, and the rest is mere froth, such ardent soul will come here, knowing that the world is but vanity of vanities, knowing that everything is useless except the worship of Lord and the Lord alone. Friends, you have been very kind to allude to an ideal of mine, which is to start a center in the Himalayas. And perhaps I have sufficiently explained why it should be so. Why, about all others, this is the spot which I want to select as one of the great centers to teach this universal religion. These mountains are associated with the best memories of our race. If these Himalayas are taken away from the history of religious India, there will be very little left behind. Here, therefore, must be one of those centers, one merely of activity, but more of calmness, of meditation, of peace, and I hope someday to realize it. I hope also to meet you at the other times and have better opportunities of talking to you. For the present, let me thank you for for the present, let me thank you again for all the kindness that has been shown to me, and let me take it as not only kindness shown to me in person, but as to one who represents our religion. May it never leave our hearts. May it always remain as pure as we are at the present moment, and as enthusiastic for spirituality as we are just now.